at the Bradley arena. So, and then Dennis had come to me probably maybe like early fall, late summer last month, and had told me about Kim. And I said, oh, I've heard her speak. And Ben and I, and also Cindy Winkler, were able to go to the I've Decided conference the first part of the year, and that was a really great opportunity. And so with everything that's kind of been going on, Kim reached out and just said, hey, I would love to be able to support you guys during this time, because Peoria Charter does have a membership with I've Decided. And so we kind of brainstormed and thought it would be a great idea just to be able to offer some of these free online workshops for our employees. So Kim's going to be talking about goals today, and then some other great workshops that are coming up this Thursday, and then also next Tuesday and Thursday are going to be on communication, health and wellness, and then also finances. So I feel like all these workshops are just very beneficial for everyone, especially during this time. And especially when we do have this extra time, if you want to call it that. So without further ado, Kim, I'll let you kind of introduce yourself and go ahead and take it away. And thank you again for coming alongside Peoria Charter during this time.
Thank you, Ashley. I'm really excited to have this opportunity, and I appreciate Peoria Charter greatly for their support of I've Decided and for being a part of our organization. And some of you have heard me. I came out to Peoria Charter. I know I talked with Ben. There were a couple of people that were in the meeting there that day as we talked about our community memberships and the benefits that go along with Peoria Charter's membership with I've Decided. But just to kind of catch you guys all up and what we do and what our purpose is, what we set out to do is to help you achieve your goals and dreams, whatever that might be. Essentially, we are a personal development company, and our mission is your success, and that's what we want, is to help people to be successful. So we've set up these 4 sessions that you're going to be participating in over the next couple of weeks, today, Thursday, and then next Tuesday and Thursday. Hopefully we've aligned them in such a way that it makes sense. But I asked Ashley if I could start first, because just laying that foundation of how to achieve a goal, you know, you can learn about improving your finances, and that is a wonderful thing to know about, and how to set a budget. And you can learn about living a healthy lifestyle. And obviously, under the circumstances, I'm sure many of us are, our health is at the forefront right now, knowing that we need to take good care of ourselves, that we need to be healthy so that we have a lower risk of getting sick with any virus, for that matter, or any disease. So I know a lot of people right now truly do want to invest in their healthy lifestyle and become healthier. And but you know, it doesn't matter what your goal is, whether it's to get out of debt, live healthy, finish school, open your own business, write a book. The list could go. Be more organized, be a better communicator, improve your relationships. The list could go on and on. It doesn't matter what your goal is. The behavior change, the process of being successful works the same way. So our goal then is to help teach that process of success. What does it look like to set a goal and to actually achieve it from beginning to end, to follow through? And as I talk today, I always like to set this up, because all of us have heard, we've all set goals in our lives, and sometimes we've been successful at them and sometimes we haven't. And so the beauty of what I talked to you about today, these 6 steps to success, it probably isn't going to be new news to you. These are things that you have heard before. And it's things, processes, and things that you're going to recognize. And you're like, oh yeah, that's how I kicked that habit back then. And now how could I have completed that degree back then? Or how did I kick that bad habit back then? But now today I can't do this. And you'll start to recognize that you'll see those processes that you went through in order to be successful. But while we're doing it, we don't really clearly see what's happening. We're just following the process. We complete the goal, and we don't really understand exactly how it happened. So then we move on to the next thing. So we don't understand how we can be successful in one area and not in the other. So as I was saying in the beginning, I'm getting acclimated to these webinars. It's very hard for me because I'm such a people person, and I love, you can see me, my hands are flailing, right? And I when I'm speaking in public, I can tend to read body language and see if people are picking up what I'm putting down, so to speak. Like if you're feeling it, or if you're kind of like, what is she talking about? And on here, it's a little difficult. So for those of you that I can see, if you're feeling me when I say something, I like thumbs up. You know, you can give me thumbs up. You can nod, right? Kind of smile. Kevin, thank you. I see you smiling. Show some smiles, and that kind of lets me know that you're following, and it's making sense to you, and you're connecting to it. There is a chat box. I know we're all learning how to use Zoom, and this is something that some of you may know how to use or may not know how to use. But if you click on the More screen, you can find the chat box, and you can, there's someone who already chatted, greetings. Someone said hello. Perry says hello all. So yay, so you found the chat box. You can chat with each other individually, or you can chat to all. So if you have a comment, and I will do my best to try to kind of follow that and see if anyone has any questions. So if you have any questions, by all means, put it in there, and I will try to pay attention. But it will be a little difficult to see because from my end, I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can follow a presentation along with this. So I'm going to go ahead and click share screen. And once I get it up, if somebody would just let me know if you would just let me know. Let's see if I can. Let's see who I see. Okay, I see Kevin. Kevin, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen? Great, because I can't find the chat box right now. I just see the screen. So that first screen there just tells you who I am. So again, my name is Kim Martin, and I'm the founder of I've Decided. And as I said, we help you achieve your goals and dreams, whatever that might be. And our mission is your success. We're a personal development company, and we want you to achieve your personal goals. I truly believe that it is the core of who we are. I think people who, when their actions align with their deepest desires, these are going to be your more positive, happy people. When a person has a deep desire that they want to accomplish, and their actions don't align with that. So for example, maybe I want to live a healthy lifestyle, and I know I need to, but I keep driving through the McDonald's drive-through every day, grabbing cheeseburgers and French fries. So my actions aren't aligning with those deep desires. Or maybe I want to get out of debt, but I keep buying things that I don't necessarily need, or I haven't taken the time to create a budget. So again, my actions aren't aligning with that deep desire. And when that happens, that wreaks all kinds of havoc in our personal life and professional. Regardless of what we want to do, what we want to believe, we're human beings. We have emotion, and we don't forget what's going on in our world. So if we're struggling in time management, if we're struggling being dysfunctional because we're not as organized as we want to be, or we're not as healthy as we want to be, or we're over flooded with debt, we can't just leave it at the door like we would love to be able to do, and pretend like it's not there. It's just not how the human brain works. It's always there. It's always like that little frog on your shoulder riveting all day long, letting you know that you're not doing what you should be doing. And so we believe it's the core root cause of all kinds of things, like just everyday ordinary depression, unhappiness, lack of productivity, lack of loyalty, commitment. We're constantly trying to move and look for the next best thing in hopes that that's going to make us happier. But truly, the joy comes from within when our lives align with who we are, when our lives and our choices that we make actually align with who we want to be and what we want to accomplish. And so that's why I think it is so very important to get the message out there about living decided. And that's essentially where the name came from. I've decided. And so if you think about this and you even say it, and you might not say it out loud, I can't hear you, you're all muted, so I can't hear you. But if you want to, you can say it out loud, and you can even say it in your mind. But when you say the words, I've decided, it takes an ownership within you. It resonates because now you've transitioned from, well, I want to, well, I'm thinking about it, I'm going to try, to I've decided. And this really is a biblical practice that we follow at I've decided, because we know that being lukewarm in anything is a bad thing, based on what scripture tells us. And so we don't want to be lukewarm. We don't want to be lukewarm in anything. We need to decide. And being decided doesn't mean you're a yes person. That doesn't mean that I go around saying yes to everything because I live decided. That's not what it means at all. In fact, I probably say no more than I say yes. My yes means yes and my no means no. So when you live with that mindset that you set a goal, you make that decision, you follow the process, you're focused and you're intentional. And so you don't get distracted by things that aren't a part of what's going to help you be successful. So truly, I don't want you to get confused to think that living a life decided means we're yes, yes, yes. No, we're really saying no more than we say yes. It's just that our yes means yes and our no means no. So living decided, it means it's okay to say no. That's not what I'm going to do right now. That's a decision. So we understand that when we decide, when we make that decision, when we shift that mindset from lukewarm, that lukewarm meaning I'm going to try, I'm going to think about it, man, I really want to shift, we understand that sometimes that decision can be no, right? Thumbs up, nod. It's not just yes, but we know that what we want to accomplish, and that's what we're going to focus on. So I want to go through those steps and teach you what I know about behavior change. And I fully believe in this program and fully believe that if you follow these steps and start to live this process, that you will be able to accomplish any goal that you set out to accomplish. It can be as simple as, I want to wake up a little bit earlier in the morning, or I'm sick of hitting that snooze button too much, I need to get up. It can be something that simple to something so hard and complicated as kicking a bad habit like smoking, or living healthy and losing 50 pounds. Those are hard things to do, but it is possible. You can do it. And I believe that because of my experience. And when we talk about behavior change, I'm going to share some things with you along the way through this, so that you recognize that I've experienced some of these extreme changes. And so I know that it works personally, and I've coached thousands of people over the last 25 years, and I've seen it work. And so I share that with you, not to toot my own horn, but to tell you that the process works. It's been proven and I've seen it, so that you can believe that if you apply this methodology of success, you're going to be able to achieve your goal. So let's look at what success actually looks like today. So bear with me as I try to get this screen to go to page 2 here. Let me go ahead and start this slideshow. Let's try that. There we go. You see, do you see it? Do you see 38%, 62%? Okay, perfect. So what does success look like today? In our culture, based on statistics and research, what does it look like? Well, if you look at these little percentages that I have here, canisters, what I have learned based on what the research and the statistics and compiling numbers looks like, out of 100% of population, 38% of people know they don't set goals. So there's a percentage of people that actually, for whatever reason, now I can't be 100% sure of what those reasons are, but for whatever reason, 38% of our population does not set goals at all. And it could be many reasons, but I think some of them probably don't, because it's disappointing. They've probably tried to set goals many times in their life and they failed. And so because they weren't able to accomplish the goals that they tried, they just really gave up. So I think there's a large percentage in that 38% that kind of just gave up on their goals. And there's probably a lot of other scenarios out there, but 38% of people actually don't set goals, and 62% of us still do. So that's good news. More people actually set goals than don't, so that's good. 62% of us actually still set goals. But here is the number that's sad. Out of 62% of people that set goals, 9.2%, that's the national average, that's the global average, about 9.2% of the population actually achieve the goals. And that's the problem that I decided wants to solve. We want to flip that number around, because we don't believe that there's a special population, that there's 9% of people out there. Those are the special people in the world who are just meant to achieve their goals, and the rest of us, we're not. We do not believe that. We believe that every single one of us have a purpose. We were created, designed to do something, to accomplish it, and we should be able to, and we should be able to be successful. So what's the difference then? Why are these people in the 9.2% successful and these people over here are not? And I want to share with you what I believe about that. So when I talk about success, I look at it like a puzzle. You think about success like a puzzle. It's hard to put a puzzle together. If you've ever put 1,000 piece or a 2,000 piece puzzle together, it's not something that you go, oh, I'm going to put a puzzle together, and you just sit down and put a puzzle together. It takes a long time. It takes determination. It takes consistency. You have to constantly be working at it. A lot of times it takes other people to come along and help you. It requires that you have the cover of the box so that you can actually see what the picture looks like. It's hard. And so I like to use the analogy that success is like a puzzle. It requires many pieces working together in order for you to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. If any piece is missing, then your puzzle isn't complete. It's going to be difficult. Success is hard. And so the first thing that we have to recognize is that when we say we're going to do something, a lot of times we expect that it's going to be easy. We expect that it should be easy. Some people make it look so easy, especially in advertisements and things about losing weight and that aspect, or success. You know, you see all these things out there upon social media, and they just make it look so easy, and that's a farce. It's not easy, it's hard. Success is very hard, and it requires lots of pieces connected together in order for you to be successful. And so we have 10 pieces of the puzzle that we believe that you need in order to be successful. And I'll quickly go through those with you. And then we're going to get to the right mindset and talking about decide, the 6 steps to success. And that's what I want to spend the most time on today. So I will remind you though, if you are muted, if I'm missing something in the chat box, I cannot see the chat box. Somebody please unmute yourself and share with me if there's something that you need me to cover or you have a question. So you can unmute yourself to communicate, okay? And so if there is something that you're dying to say or a question or someone posts something in the comment that I don't see that you think needs to be a question that needs to be answered, just someone unmute yourself and let me know. Otherwise, if we keep going, I'll assume you're with me, you're following, you're connected, and we're all good. And then we'll
looks
have
good so far.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. And then we'll have some questions. Write your questions down, and we'll have some time at the end to answer a few of your questions. So what do these pieces of the puzzle look like? Well, you need motivation. And a lot of times when we think about motivation, people want to say, well, I'm self-motivated. I don't need motivation. I can motivate myself. Okay, that there is a certain level of that could be true. You can be a person who can make yourself do something, but the motivation that we're talking about is revelation. And that revelation, that moment when something connects. Remember at the beginning when I started, I said, today you're probably not going to hear this is not going to be new news to a lot of you. You're going to hear some of the things that you've already heard before. If you've ever even been to a conference, if you've ever listened to a motivational speaker, if you've ever read a self-help book, we're all kind of saying the same thing. You know, we are. And we're just saying it differently. And so what happens with the motivation that we're talking about, like the reason why we have motivational leadership conferences and the reason why we put those on every year at I've Decided is because you got to hear something in a way that resonates with you personally so that you can then take all the information, the knowledge and wisdom, your life experience that applies to you, and it connects to what someone just said. And all of a sudden now you realize how it impacts your life and what you need to do in that moment when you go, oh my gosh, I get it. That's it. That's that motivation that truly propels you. And it's a motivation that you need on a regular basis. You can't just be motivated one time. You know, famous Zig Ziglar said, motivation is like bathing. You don't just bathe once, it wears off and you got to bathe again. Motivation is exactly the same way. You can't just be motivated once and then think it's going to keep you going. You have to constantly be motivated. You need inspiration. You have to be inspired. And this is where I always say and ask, what do you think is the most, the best way to be inspired? But since it's hard for me to hear the answers right now, I'll just tell you that success stories. If you want to achieve something, you need to be surrounded or be connected to someone who has achieved what you want to achieve so that you have hope, so that you can see and believe that it's possible. That, in my business as a Curves owner and helping women lose weight, that's one of the things that I had on my side is that I've lost 80 pounds and have kept it off over 15 years. So the inspiration story that my members were able to witness with their own eyes within me encouraged and inspired them that they could do it too. So if you want to get out of debt, you need to see and hear and be connected to someone who's been in your shoes, that's overcome that's accomplished that can encourage you. If you want to lose weight, you need the same thing. If you want to open your own business, you need to connect with someone who has accomplished that and learn from them and be inspired by them. So you need success stories. You need that inspiration. You need support and accountability. And again, this is a constant thing. This isn't something that you get, oh, I got the support of my, friend one time. It's a constant support. We need accountability on a daily basis. You have to have accountability on a daily basis. It's too easy to revert back. When you want to accomplish a goal, you're going to have to change a behavior. It doesn't matter what goal you want to accomplish. It, again, from the simplest to the most difficult, whatever it is that you want to accomplish, you're going to have to do something different than you're doing today. Because if you were already doing it, you would already be achieving the goal, right? So you're going to have to do something different. So you have to have that accountability to constantly remind you of the different thing that you need to do to accomplish what you want to accomplish. It's a constant thing. You need information. You need education. And we're not talking always formal education. Sometimes it is a formal education. If you know you have been called for a purpose to do something, and it requires that you have a formal education to do it, that's going to be one of your SMART goals that you're going to need to accomplish. So sometimes it does require a formal education, but education comes in the form of reading books, of workshops and seminars like what you're achieving or participating in today and what you'll be participating in over the next couple of weeks. So education comes in all kinds of forms, but you need it. You need to constantly be learning. You need tools and you need resources. We send out a weekly winning resource every week, and that weekly winning resource has a weekly winning word and a weekly winning quote and a challenge for our members to do. And sometimes people are like, oh, I just don't have time. It's kind of silly, blah, blah, blah. But the point is that if you're serious, if you truly are serious about being a person who is going to live decided, and what I mean by that is you are a person who knows how to set goals and knows how to achieve them. Okay, you know you have something to do, you know how to set the goal, and you know how to achieve it. So if you're going to be a person who does that and you're serious about it, then it's not silly to have a weekly winning word. In fact, it's the best thing you can do because it keeps you focused and it brings you back. When your brain starts to slip back and to revert and go, you know, I'm just so tired, I'm just going to go home and lay on the couch. Well, that weekly winning word, you can come back to that, and it might be passion, or it might be perseverance, whatever the word is. It reminds you that, you know what, no, my weekly winning word is perseverance. I'm going to persevere. Of course I'm tired, but I'm still going to go work out because that's the goal that I want to accomplish. And so you need those tools and you need those resources to help you. You need a place to contribute. You know, one of the biggest missing links, I believe, that we have is contributing to other people's success. There is nothing that motivates and inspires and encourages you to be successful than to really contribute to the success of others. And that's why organizations like Peoria Charter, we have over 60 businesses who sponsor and are a part of I've Decided. And I believe in most of them do it because it's a place for them to contribute, to say, yes, we want to be a part of an organization that's helping people achieve their goals and dreams. We want to put our seal of approval on that and be involved. It's a natural thing, and it is a part of success. It's about being generous. That's where that contribution comes in. And you give and then you receive. That's the ebb and flow of it. So you need a place to contribute. And then, of course, you have to have the right mindset. And that's my passion, and that's what I get excited about and fired up about. And I hope that I'm not hurting your hearing right now as I get excited, and I get louder and louder the more excited I get. So I get just really fired up about our mindset and how we think, and that self-awareness and the things that we say to ourselves. And you know, this is the part that I'm really passionate about. And I want to share with you guys what I truly believe that God laid on my heart as a part of my purpose in life, to share and encourage people in living a life decided. And so there's the famous Yoda. do or do not. There is no try. You've seen that before. I love that quote. It's one of my, today, it's still one of the best quotes ever. When it comes to success, when it comes to anything, stop using the word try. Try is a word that sets you up for failure. It is not a decision. It is, well, if the whole world aligns perfectly, I'm going to do it. Well, that's never going to happen. Okay? It's never going to happen. You have to either do or do not do. You have to either decide you're going to do it or decide you're not going to do it. But trying is not an option. Trying really does set us up to not be successful. Wanting is not enough. You can want to do something so bad. I haven't met one single person. I've been working in health and wellness my entire life since I was 22 years old. I have never, ever, ever, not once, have I ever met anyone who doesn't want to be healthy. We all want to be healthy. In fact, I've heard it said that everybody wants to be skinny and rich. Everybody wants to be healthy and wealthy. That's just the human nature. So there's no one who doesn't want it. We all do. But that mindset is what needs to shift in order to achieve it. So you have to decide. So understand, as I start to take you through the 6 steps to success, the steps that you will follow on a daily basis to help you achieve those goals that you want to achieve. Understand that before any of it will work, a decision has to be made. It's not going to work if you're like, well, I'm going to try to exercise. I'm going to try to not, it won't work. You have to stick that stake in the ground and you have to claim it. You have to say, no, I have decided this is what I'm going to do. That transformation has to happen in your mindset. And when it does, then you can follow these processes and it will work. It doesn't make it perfect, and it certainly doesn't make it easy. It's still going to be extremely hard, but what it does is it makes it doable. It increases your odds of success greatly, and anything better than 9.2% is a good thing, okay? So let's talk about that. So here are the 6 steps that we're going to go through. I use the acrostic DECIDE simply because that's what we talk about all the time, and it's something that it's simple and you can remember, right? So DECIDE, we're going to go through declare, envision, cultivate, incorporate, develop discipline, and excel. All right, everybody with me so far? You still with me? Awesome, good. It's so weird talking and not hearing any feedback or getting kind of lost here and not seeing anyone. So thank you for the grace. I hope this is coming through well. All right. So that first step is to declare. Now, when we talk about the word declare, now this is so amazing to me. And I really feel I'm in a safe environment with Peoria Charter because I know that the owners of Peoria Charter are Christian, and I feel like I can share this with you guys safely. I don't put that picture there to try to push my beliefs off on anyone else. That's not what that's there for. I put that picture there because there's no other declaration I've ever made in my life that has been as impactful as that declaration. And that picture that you see, that was me being baptized 10 years ago in the lake out at Northwoods Church. And I got a shirt that day that said, I have decided. That's what they give their people that get baptized, that shirt. It says, I have decided. And at that time, I did not have, I've decided. I didn't even really have this organization, built up in my mind. I had a lot of things that I wanted to do. I was thinking about doing a movement, a health and wellness movement. So it was there, but not in the way that it is today. And I fast forward, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 years after this picture and after I got that shirt, and I was coming up with this idea of doing this movement in our community of health and wellness. And I was coming up against some obstacles that that companies that provide health and wellness resources were concerned about competition and are you going to let this person and that person? I'm like, well, we can't have a movement if we don't all participate. That's what a movement is about. So I was trying to figure all this out in my mind and how to overcome it. And I was running with one of my running buddies, Dawn. We were doing the half marathon in Peoria Charter. And this was about, it's about 7 years ago because I decided at 6 years old, and it was months after this conversation. In fact, it was exactly 7 years ago because it was during this time. It was like in April. It was around this time, April, that we were running that half marathon. And I just had this thing in my heart. It's like God just said, just like you decided, just like you stuck the stake in the ground to follow me, people need to decide that this is the problem with success. This is why people have a hard time achieving their goals. They're not decided. They're lukewarm. And all of a sudden I started going, I've decided to lose weight. I decided to get out of debt. I've decided to open my own business. I decided to finish school. I decided to be more organized. And I mean, for like miles, Dawn was hearing me go on and on about all these things that people could decide to do. And so that's where I decided evolved from. And she was like, that's a great idea. Then that way everyone can kind of get involved in the movement. It doesn't just make it a health and wellness movement. It just makes it a movement about people achieving their goals and dreams. So our organization was created off of a concept of really a movement, and it's evolved into a personal development company. And so when I was asked to speak on this, and I needed to put a presentation together. And so as I started to put my presentation together, God laid on my heart the DECIDE methodology. And I have years of experience in behavior change. And all of this started coming together. But so when I wrote out DECIDE, that first D, declare, I wrote declare. Oh my gosh, it was just so perfect in my mind. Yes, that's the first thing. I mean, think about it. In the 12-step process, the first step is that you have to declare. You have to say, hello, my name is Kim and I am, it's that declaration. And so I thought, ooh, good one, Lord, declare. Yes, that's the D, declare. But here it gets better. And this is what gets me so excited when I know, and you know this too, when God lays something on your heart, it's amazing how perfect it is. So when I looked up the definition of declare, this is what it is. To say something in a solemn and empathetic manner, or to take possession of. Can you believe that? The word declare actually means to take possession of. So you own it, you declare it, you say, this is what I've decided. I am taking possession of my goal. I am saying it, and I am acknowledging that this is what I'm going to do. So you have to declare it, and you take possession of it. You take ownership. And I feel like, that's why I have that picture there, because it took me 2 years of hem-hawing in my head about getting baptized because, I didn't really want to do it because I love Jesus and I wanted to go to church and go to heaven, but I kind of really didn't want to give up all these other things over here that I knew I needed to give up. And if I really declared it, take ownership that I have given my life to Christ, well, boy, I'm going to have to change some things, because otherwise then I'm going to look like someone who really didn't do it. Kind of makes sense? So that picture, for me, there's no better declaration. But what is it for you? What do you need to declare? What in your life do you need to stick the stake in the ground and you need to declare? You need to take ownership and say, this is what I know I need to do, and I'm going to do it. You need to declare. You have to tell someone. Now, one other thing before we move on to envision, and I need you to be very cautious about this. You can shout it to the rooftops and you can tell the whole world, and that's okay. But you need to understand that the response might not be what you're hoping for. So when you declare, you need to make sure that you know who you're declaring it to, because the people who love you the most can crush your dream like a can crusher. And what I mean by that is, I'll use my mom for example, okay? My mother, who loves me more than anybody in the whole wide world. In fact, she's probably the unconditional love that I have on earth. Okay. So the person that I know, no matter what I do, she will not stop loving me. That's my mother. But I can't I tell her things, but I already know that when I declare them to her, when I tell them to her, I already know she's going to be like, baby, you don't need to do that. You already worked too hard. And she's just going to crush. And it's not because she doesn't love me. She loves me. It's out of fear that I'm going to overwork myself, or out of fear that I'm going to overrun myself. Like, she's not I've ran 5 marathons and she's my least favorite fan. She hates the fact that I run. She thinks I'm going to fall and hurt myself. Like, it's the craziest thing ever, but then she wants me to be healthy. She's like, you're taking your vitamins, right? You got to be healthy. So when you declare it, you got to know who you're declaring it to. And it's of the utmost importance that you have someone that you're declaring it to that loves you enough to hold you accountable, and who will remind you of what you declared you were going to do and not judge you, because we will make mistakes. So understand that declaration is of the utmost importance, and you can tell whoever you want to. You just need to know who you're telling, and you do have to have someone that will love you enough to be honest, remind you of the decision that you made without judgment. So it does slightly matter. In the book that I wrote, on one of the pages, there's a list of 3 people that you want to declare your goal to, declare what you've decided. And it is kind of important, those 3 people. You really need to think it through, who they are.
Hey, Kim, this is Ben.
Yes, hi, Ben.
Can you see us?
I can see a couple of you. I can see you, actually.
All right. Some of us have to get off the call at 10, so I just wanted to give you a heads up.
Okay. All right.
This is great. I just wanted to give you a heads up.
And if you have to hang up, just hang up. I'm going to keep going because we're recording. And then if you want to come back and watch it later, you can. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
I don't know that I'll quite wrap up by 10. We kind of got a late start, but I'll roll through. Thank you for that. Awesome. So the first step is declare. Okay. The second is envision. The definition of envision is to conceive as a possibility or to mentally picture a future event. And guys, this is different than dreaming. Dreaming is good, okay? But envisioning means you actually put yourself in the event. You actually put yourself down the road. I like to use an example. This is a tough example, and please, I don't know anything about anyone. These are just my personal examples, okay? When I was from the time I was probably about 17 years old until I was 27, I smoked. And when I was 27, my stepmother died of lung cancer. And at that time, I didn't even have children. I have 2 beautiful daughters now who are almost 16 and 18. But at that time, I didn't have kids. And I just got this deep burning desire in my heart to quit smoking, because I'm like, I'm going to die. I just lost my stepmom. So I felt like I'm going to die if I don't quit smoking. That's what happened to her. And so and this is where this envision came from. And this is why it resonated so well with me. And I just knew this was the perfect word for the E in decide, which is envision, is because really the only reason, with exception to the help from the good Lord above, the only reason that I was able to overcome that addiction was because I envisioned my future self. Like, I envisioned things that would happen to me when I was 60 and 70. And, I envisioned being 52 like my stepmom and being diagnosed with cancer. And that sounds gory, and we don't want to do that. But the truth, hurts sometimes, but we have to understand that it doesn't matter what choices we make, there will be a consequence. When it comes to behavior change, I learned this in a class. I learned that when it comes to changing behaviors, people don't change unless there's physical, emotional, or financial pain. Physical, emotional, or financial pain. You have to literally feel the pain of those things in order to truly want to change. That's one of the reasons why it's so difficult for people to successfully achieve their goals, because to achieve a goal, you're going to have to do something that may not be causing you any pain yet. Does that make sense? So the only way to experience that pain is to envision it. You have to actually pretend like it's happening today. So at 27 years old, I had no symptoms from smoking. I wasn't coughing. I was 27. I just told you I got saved 10 years ago. So I was 27. That was a long time ago. I was a party girl. All my friends were smoking. I had no pain from smoking at that point in my life. And that's why it's very difficult for someone to kick a habit like that, because without the pain of it, it's the pain of quitting is harder, right, than the pain I'm experiencing. That's why women, when they would walk through curbs and they would be in so much pain that they could barely walk, and they're stuck the stake in the ground, and they're like, I'm done. I have to lose this weight, because now the pain of bearing the weight is more painful than the pain it's going to take to lose the weight. And so that's where that concept comes from. That's why they say people don't go to AA till they literally hit rock bottom, because the pain of quitting drinking, the pain you're experiencing has to be more than the pain it's going to take to actually accomplish the task. And that's where it gets hard. But I believe, and if this is the only little nugget you take from this, you can accomplish a goal. You can kick a bad habit. You can lose weight. You can pay off your debt. You can finish a college degree. You can have better relationships. You can do all of these things before you experience pain so bad that it might be too late. I believe it. I know it because I have done it. And the way that you do it is envision. You envision your future self. You have to envision the result that's going to happen if you accomplish your goal. And you have to envision the result that's going to happen if you don't accomplish your goal. Because either way, the result is going to happen. It's going to happen. The future will come. If you're still breathing, the future will come. And so what's your future self going to look like if you accomplish your goal or if you don't accomplish your goal? And that's what envisioning is about. We love dreams. We're all about goals and dreams. And we want you to dream. And dreaming is good. But dreaming actually can trick your brain into believing that you've already accomplished something that you haven't even accomplished yet. That's been proven in neuroplasticity studies and research. It's kind of crazy. So you have to be careful. Dreaming is a wonderful thing, but truly to envision is to mentally picture the future, and not just mentally picture it, but to put yourself in it. Okay. The C in decide is cultivate. So you have to cultivate, acquire, or develop. That's what the word cultivate means. So you need to acquire the mindset, develop the mindset that the emotion follows the action. The emotion follows the action. I have that picture of that girl there with the alarm clock because that's not me. Of course, that's just a stock photo because you don't want to see what I look like at 5 o'clock in the morning when my alarm goes off to get up to run. But that's what I feel like. And I have been running for 15 years. And every morning, this morning at 5 a.m. when my alarm went off, I'm like, oh, is it raining? Please be raining. I don't want to go run. I never feel like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning. But once I get up and get going and my feet hit the pavement, that emotion follows. And especially when I'm done, now I'm super excited. I got the hardest thing of my day is running. I got it over with and done with. And now everything else is it goes a lot better. It's a lot easier. I'm not perfect. There are days that I the mindset, the battle in the head wins and says, you know what, just be lazy today, sleep in, hit the snooze button and roll over. But I've learned and done this enough to know that when that happens, I hate how I feel later. I'm mad at myself. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm discouraged. And so if you can cultivate that mindset that the emotion follows the action, if you've worked all day, if you have to go exercise, if the only time that you have to exercise is after you've worked all day, to believe that you're going to not be tired, to believe that you're going to have the energy to go work out is setting yourself up for failure. You are going to be tired. You have to already accept the fact that I know I'm going to be tired. Of course you're tired. You've worked all day. You're tired. But you have to remember that even if you're tired, the goal is you want to be healthier. So you have to go work out. And once you start working out, and especially after it's over, you will be happy that you did it. I know you guys have experienced that emotion before. You didn't want to do something, but you made yourself do it. And then when you were done, you were so glad that you did. That's what I mean by acquiring and cultivating the mindset that the emotion follows the action. You also have to cultivate the mindset that disappointment is not disaster. Disappointment is not disaster. You're going to make a mistake, okay? You're going to make a mistake. Now, some people do things differently. When I quit smoking, it took me 2 years to officially lay them down and never pick them back up again. I have a sister who quit cold turkey. Some people can do things like that. Some people, it takes time. But if you continue, and even if you make a mistake, if you get back up and you keep on the right track, you will eventually get there. Now, this is the research that comes from the 12-step program at AA. What they prove, what they've shown, and they are the best by far behavior change model we have to follow in our society today. And their results are prove it. But what they show is that when someone goes to AA, even if they fall off the wagon, even if they start drinking again, but they continue to show up, if they continue to show up for their meetings, even if they're not successfully not drinking, they eventually become successful. Isn't that crazy? But the people who actually quit drinking and who go to the meetings and then they stop showing up for the meetings, they actually start drinking again. Mistakes are just mistakes. A disappointment is a disappointment. It's not disaster. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep going no matter what. Keep persevering. And when you do make a mistake, when you decide to sleep in when you know you should get up, it doesn't make you a loser. You don't have to start beating yourself up in the head and saying you're a loser. See, you can't do this. See, you're just born to be this way because you just can't do it. You know, that's just not true. You have to forgive yourself and say, no, I made a mistake. My goal is still the same. I'm going to get back on the horse, so to speak. So you have to cultivate the mindset that the emotion follows the action and that disappointment is not disaster. You're going to make a mistake, and that's okay. You need to incorporate. So the word incorporate means to unite or work into something already in existence to form an indistinguishable whole. It's so cool. When I look up these words, I can't even believe how perfect that they fall into this 6 steps to success. So there are things that you need to incorporate into your life that are going to help you be successful. You need to incorporate tools and resources. You need to incorporate accountability and support. We talked about that earlier. You need to incorporate those things. But the most important thing, and since our time is quickly running out, the most important thing is to incorporate your why. Why do you want to accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish? What is the end result that you're looking for? Why do you want to accomplish it? Okay, I can go back to using the quitting smoking as an example. Why did I want to accomplish that? I wanted to accomplish that because I didn't want to die like my stepmom did at 52. That was my example. So the why really truly was because I did not want to die at 52. It really had nothing to do with really just wanting to quit smoking. In fact, I liked it. That was the reason why. I didn't even have kids yet. I wanted kids. Why do you want to accomplish what you want to accomplish? When I lost weight, why did I want to lose weight? Honestly, I was very healthy. It had nothing to do with my health, okay? I was one of those very fortunate people who was overweight and seemingly healthy at that time, right? But things change in time, but seemingly healthy. Why did I want to lose weight? Well, I wanted to set a good example. I wanted to have a successful weight loss business. Well, duh, if I'm going to have a successful weight loss business, I better lose weight and I better set a good example. It really had nothing to do with my own personal health and everything to do with just me wanting to be successful. So understanding your why, the real why do you want to be successful? Why do you need to accomplish what you want to accomplish? And drawing that in on a regular and constant basis is so, so very important. You have to incorporate your accountability, support, tools, resources, and you have to incorporate your why. You have to develop discipline. And I have that brain there with the arms. Discipline is a mental muscle. It's like patience, perseverance, those things, that we just want to sprinkle on ourselves like fairy dust. It doesn't happen like that. Discipline is a muscle that has to be practiced in order to improve. So if discipline is that mental muscle, then you have to practice discipline in order to get better at discipline. Develop discipline to grow or change into a more advanced, larger, or stronger form. That's amazing to me when you read that. To grow or change into a more advanced, larger, or stronger form. So how do you advance your discipline? You have to practice discipline. You either are a disciplined person or you're not a disciplined person. You don't just say, oh, I'm going to be disciplined today. And this is the part where people, when someone would sit down and they would say, well, I want to lose weight, and they would set out their goals, and I would start asking them questions like, do you wake up at the same time every morning? Do you go to bed about the same time every night? Do you wash your face? Do you have a nightly routine? When the gas light in your car comes on, do you immediately go to the gas station or do you procrastinate? And they look at me like I have horns coming out of my head, like, what in the world does that have to do with losing weight? It has everything to do with losing weight, because if you believe that you can come in and sign up on a magical program, which by the way doesn't exist, there's no such thing, and sign up on a magical program that's going to help you lose weight, and you're not even disciplined enough to wake up on time. See what I'm saying? So we put ourselves in situations to believe that we can do things that are going to require discipline. Talk about discipline. Discipline beyond things you can't even imagine. Being disciplined enough to walk by the cookie tray at your in your break room because you need to live healthy and everybody's bringing cookies in. So you're going to have enough, and you're addicted to sugar. You're going to have enough discipline to walk by that cookie tray, and you're not even disciplined enough to brush your teeth at night. You see what I'm saying? So the discipline starts in the little things in life. You have to start becoming a disciplined person. You need to go to bed about the same time every night. You need to wake up about the same time every morning. When your gas light comes on, you should go to the gas station and get gas immediately. You need to wash your face at night. You need to brush your teeth. You have to do those things in life, and whatever it is that pertains to you personally, you have to do those things in life that are going to help you be that disciplined person. And then, and only then, can you practice the discipline that would need to be practiced in order to accomplish something like kicking a really bad habit, losing weight, paying off debt, getting your college degree, opening your own business, being a more organized person, being a better wife, spouse, partner, friend, parent, you know, those things that require discipline that we can't even fathom. I mean, it all starts with the little disciplines every day that help strengthen that mental discipline muscle. And when you accomplish those steps, then you will excel. That's the E in decide, to be exceptionally good at. Success begets success. Success begets success. And you know, I share my story and I share some of my experiences with you so that you recognize that it can be done, that it is possible. And if I started making a list of some of the things that I've accomplished that have gotten me to where I'm at, if you knew where I came from, if we had time for you to hear my whole story, your mind would be blown. And the reason why is because success begets success. It all started when I was 22 years old and started working for Curves, and I weighed 211 pounds. And once I realized, okay, so then I learned the process of losing weight, and I lost that weight. And then I opened my own Curves, my own business when I was 24. And it all started evolving to the point that, okay, then when I was 27, I decided to quit smoking. When I was 35, I decided to start running. I've ran 5 marathons. It's the discipline of that success begets success. I gave up road rage. Crazy, I know. But you can do anything that you set your mind to once you understand the process that has to take place in order to be successful. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Whatever those things are in your life that you need to overcome, you absolutely can do it if you learn the process of being successful. And it is a process. It's a process that you have to follow on a daily basis. And that's the methodology that we teach. And that's what's going to help you in taking this forward, I think, in going through these other groups that you're going to be doing this week. Having that foundation of understanding the process of success is going to help you improve your odds of being successful so that you can excel. So I'm going to stop sharing. I know there's a lot of people that had to hop off. There's some of you still here. I am going to unmute. You all are unmuted now, unless you have yourself muted, and then you'll have to unmute. I'm still recording just in case you have some questions that some people that might be listening later would want to answer too, or any comments. But I'd love to hear your thoughts, your feedback. Ben, I just saw your message. I'm seeing the messages now. I found your 80 pounds. Well, you can lose it too. So any questions, any thoughts? Is there anything where you say, you know, I don't quite get what you're saying, or it doesn't make sense to me? Is there any point that I can elaborate on just a little bit or answer any questions for you guys?
I was going to ask you, what was your motivation to get into shape and lose weight? But then you also kind of answered that. To be an example.
Well, actually, to keep my job. When I started working for Curves, they hired me as a manager, and they literally, I had been a manager. I worked in retail, so I had management experience. And so, but not any, obviously, exercise or anything like that. Didn't know a thing about weight loss. And so they said, if you do, we're going to follow you for 90 days. They said, we really like you, but you got to lose weight. And so I'm like, this might be the best thing that's ever happened. And obviously one is one of the best things that ever happened to me. And so it was really, had nothing to do with the fact except for I wanted to keep my job. And then when I opened my own Curves, I wanted to be successful. And that was my why. Yep.
I'm curious. I actually have 2 questions. I'm curious if anybody else on here has a goal that they're trying to accomplish and want to tell us about it. Unless it's like starting a new bus company, please don't mention that.
It's not a good time to do that. I would not recommend it, right?
But the other thing is, I was speaking with somebody last week, and a lot of these kinds of seminars will say you have to find your purpose or your goal and accomplish it. And I said the struggle that I always have is I have too many things I'm passionate about So how do you narrow it down? And this guy asked me a challenging question. He said, well, do you think it's a problem to have more than one thing you're passionate about? And it kind of stumped me because I was like, oh, I was trying to just focus on one and I get distracted by the others. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
I do actually, because you can be passionate about many things, that's for sure. It usually all kind of correlates back to the one thing, but you can be passionate about many things. I think that if there's a lot of goals that you have to have SMART goals. So you have to determine which one you're going to start with first. Okay. And then remember I said success begets success. Once you start to recognize and follow the success methodology and you start to apply that to your everyday life, I've got multiple goals working at all times. You can have multiple goals working, but there might be one lurking goal that is the most important goal for you to accomplish in order to get to where you want to go. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
but like when I talked about formal education, if there is something that you know in your heart that you were meant to do that is going to require you to get that formal education, that might be that becomes the priority. That's what you got to get done. And it doesn't mean that you don't have all these other little goals over here floating around in passions, but sometimes you might have to something may have to wait. You might have to sacrifice something that you really love to do and that you're passionate about to get this thing done. Does that make sense? So sometimes we do have to sacrifice some things that we love to do to get done the things that we want to get done. And it doesn't mean, and I talk about this a lot when it comes to weight loss. Like when you need to lose weight, it's kind of like paying off debt. You have to restrict how much you spend in order to get rid of the excess debt, right? So you have to kind of restrict. So that means that you might have to sacrifice drinking your favorite latte every afternoon at 4 o'clock for an amount of time in order to truly achieve that goal that you know you have to achieve. Usually when it comes to losing weight, it's not necessarily the weight it's what the weight is keeping us from doing. That's the important thing. So that's where that why, it's like, it's why, it's like, okay, when I lose the weight, what am I going to get to do that I'm not getting to do? What am I going to get to do that I'm not getting to do right now?
Right.
But you can definitely have multiple goals and multiple dreams, but you do have to prioritize them.
Good advice.
Yeah, good question. Thanks, Ben. Anybody else? Yeah. So I guess I want to encourage you guys to, when it comes to your goals and dreams, go after them and go after them passionately, and don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to do the things that you're like, oh, I don't need motivation. Who needs to go to a motivational leadership conference? All of us do. We all do. Everybody needs to put themselves in that situation. And it's that's holding us back. We need to open our minds and say, no, you know what? I'd rather sit on my back deck and have drinks with my husband than go to a conference, but that's not going to get me to the goal that I want. So I want to just encourage you to get involved and go all in on your goals and dreams and start taking those steps. And you're here today, and I think that's a great first step. And you might be listening later, and so that's awesome.
Well, thank you so much, Kim, for doing this for us. And I think that I know I definitely jotted down quite a few notes that I'm excited to go back and read over again. And so, yeah, just thanks again. And I know that I'm excited as well for the other talks that we have coming up as well over the next couple weeks. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you guys are going to love, they're all going to be awesome. I'm going to mute all real quick. Just so I can say, they're all going to be very awesome. You're going to love them. All these speakers are fantastic. Dean is your next speaker on Thursday. about communication, and he's great. You're really gonna love him. But all right, awesome. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. I did record this. When it's done, I'll send it to you, Ashley. I appreciate your attention. If you have any questions, Ashley will let you know how to get in touch with me. Have a good day. All right, bye. Thank you so much.